Thank you so much. It's really gratifying to know that you are now on the world stage with exactly the same value and quality proposition for 70 years. This is truly amazing. Moving to my good friend Shailendra. Before I get to him, I was talking with Shailendra just before lunch. And if you ladies and gentlemen have some time, I want you to visit his booth behind. And not that I'm doing some paid promotion for him, but there's one fascinating photograph that caught my attention. I don't know how many of you know in this audience that they did the packing for the Gaganyaan satellite launch vehicle. Am I right? Please talk about that first, and with that, I want you to tell me about how do smart packaging and sustainability innovations reduce losses. I want both those answers from you. First on the Gaganyaan, because that's really got my interest.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Shailendra Anand, and I'm representing Prog here. First of all, good afternoon to all and to my fellow panelists. Prog is nothing but it's a family surname. It's a Dutch company. It was a Dutch company. Almost a year back, now we are part of the world's biggest packaging company called Rengo, R-E-N-G-O. If you get a time to Google it, they are in packaging business for the last 120 years, listed in Tokyo Stock Exchange. So that's why when you see Prog name, you'll see a company of private Japan, which is basically a part of Rengo Group. Coming back to the question what my friend Gazar has asked me, well, we are a company having various lines of business. Rather, three lines of business. One is we do lashing of cargo on board ships. We are into the lifting solutions. We lift single piece of 5 tons to 500 tons of single piece. We are into that lifting business also. But here we are discussing about the third line of business, which is industrial packaging. So when we talk about industrial packaging, let me tell you, friends, anything and everything what you look around, anything in this room, if you can tell me one thing, it cannot be packed. Everything requires a packing in this world. So, but every packing cannot be done by Prog or any other organization. We are focusing only on industrial packing. So when we are talking about industrial packaging, because my background is from the logistics side, that's how me and Gazar, we were together in Dubai as friends. We were neighbors also, and we have spent a lot of almost more than a decade in Dubai together in the logistics. Then I was in India. I was throughout into the forwarding industry. My last assignment I was with Freight System. Before that I was with MN. So I carried our logistics experience into the packaging in this company. When we talk about Prog, which is a 50 years old, I brought the vertical business rather than focusing on all the packaging. So we have about 9 verticals. When I talk about 9 verticals, aeronauticals, railways, renewable energy, heavy engineering, food and pharma. So this way, 9 verticals that we are focusing only on that. When we are talking about aeronautical, that's what he was at the stall and he asked for the picture. What is this picture all about? That is basically Gaganyaan, which is going to be launched by ISRO. So we do the packaging for ISRO through of course, a very big service provider. So we are there. The service provider is doing only the shipping side, and the packaging contract has been handed over to Prog. So this is the nose spoon of that rocket or the Gaganyaan, which required a special kind of packing, and that is basically a shock absorber. Reason is they did not want any during the transportation any kind of shocks to happen. So if you will get the time, my team will show the picture also. There are below the particular fixture, there are shock absorbers in the springs and all, so that can absorb the shock. So that is to answer your first part of the question. Now coming to the second question, can you repeat your question?
Smart packaging and sustainable solutions.
Okay. I have been a part of the various forums and where or rather I'm actively involved in going and meeting my customers on Pan India because we are across India. We have got 7 locations in India from solve. So there are a lot of, when I mean, maybe, like, I don't want to name the company, and even the top-notch management people will ask me, Sharada, we want sustainable smart packaging. So I would like to take this opportunity to explain to the audience here. The smart packaging and sustainable packaging are two different things. How do I define smart packaging? Or anybody can define smart packaging. Smart packaging is nothing but it is basically an integration of technology into your traditional packaging to add the functionality. To give you an example, you have a corrugated box or a wooden box, you put a QR code on it, it becomes a smart package. Okay. Now QR code, I'm sure you all must be knowing that QR stands for quick response. Okay, so this is called QR code, is a quick response code. So that's why when you scan it, you get quickly all the information on your mobile. But now the thing is, the technology is going, especially in packaging I'm talking about, it's going way ahead now. Where we are, the tests are going on across the globe. There will be local QR codes that once you scan it, and you can hear all inside the box, including a packing list, the contents of inside the box, and you can hear it in your preferred language. Hindi, Gujarati, Punjabi, Chinese, Japanese. So this is going to be soon in a reality. Now, if there are, when I talk about companies like Larsen & Siemens, where the equipments are very delicate, and they have to GE also, or medical equipments, where they do not want any kind of tilting during the transportation, or they do not want any kind of like shocks. So now there are things which you can put in the box, like there are tilt watch. So if there is any tilting beyond 20 degrees, it will get recorded and you will get a message that your box is getting tilted. You can call your logistics service provider and say, boss, your driver is not driving properly or getting on the rough train. Secondly, when we talk about shock absorbers, because there are a lot of, maybe giving an example, like a customer like Halsey's, they are making very sophisticated buying equipments which they do not want to have any kind of shock. So you can put a shock absorbing watch also. Then third is which is very much globally accepted now, is RFID, which is radio frequency identification. So today, when we talk about, because I'm from the logistics background, so I know how track and trace is very important. But in packaging also, you can have a real time by putting RFID chip in the boxes. So you can even track, okay, which part of the globe this your box is right now, and you can track it online. Now coming to sustainability. Sustainability is basically a very buzzword these days. Everywhere, there's no session you can attend without a word called sustainability. But sustainability, when we talk about in packaging, there are different definitions I would like to say. The sustainability, in a very simple layman language, is a reusable or returnable packaging solution. But what do I do if I'm sending a box from here to Hamburg? Will I get it back? It's not returnable. So there are sometimes the boxes what you make, which is for the longer duration, where you can prolong the discarding of that box, is also called sustainability.
Good.
So sustainability is very big thing in India, especially when I talk about my organization as a prompt. For the domestic sector, we have been very successfully providing sustainable packaging solution to a lot of industries. Like there was a customer who was selling some bike parts from here to Bangalore every second day, a full truckload, but in the wooden general good boxes. We had given them a solution in the mattress frames, and now they send it, and my Bangalore team had taken over and again sent it back. So now this is going on for almost 10, 12 different centers. So this is kind of packaging and sustainable solution. We are introducing, this is one of them, but I don't want to take the time of other panelists. So this is definitely very much on the cards, and especially one customer I want to mention about, one of the leading forwarding companies has even done a calculation recently for a customer in Chennai where they're sending the sustainable packaging to France. After taking the cargo out, they are bringing it back, paying the customer, which is still it is falling cheaper than buying the new boxes.
Wow. This is an amazing example, and thank you for sharing that. Over to you, Kunal. Happy to have you on this panel. I think you represent the next generation of softening I know your dad quite well, and thanks for having me here. Kunal, you're the next gen in this business, and I'm sure you have the vision and the ideas of where this whole AI part is going. Massive buzzword, everybody talks about it, the context varies. So, put a little context to this with regards to our industry. When I say our industry, let's say the supply chain and logistics industry, and since we are manufacturers here together, how do you drive collaboration using this AI? And how is it helping you in real-time collaborative decision taking? Over to you, Kunal.
Sure, thanks. Let me just start by saying, Surendraji, trust me, there is no better snack than a bhujia with a beer. So, just wanted to get that out of the way. So, good afternoon, guys. My name is Kunal Maheshwari, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Softlink Global. And it's a pleasure to share the panel with such incredibly smart people, and I'm probably the youngest, so lucky to be here. Let me start by stating a fact or a fun fact which I read somewhere. In 2021, US increased their interest rates, and at the same time, by the end of 2021, ChatGPT was launched. Now, when interest rates are increased, the costs go higher. And that is exactly when companies want to look for efficiencies. And trust me, AI is the only way, as of now, and probably going forward, where so many more and more tools can be used to bring in those efficiencies. So now, AI is just not something which you need to know or it is important for your upskilling. It is now important to survive, sustain, and thrive as well.
Interesting.
Over the last 5 years, I've been part of this industry, and I am the service provider for your vendors, right? Your manufacturers, you're working with a lot of freight forwarders, I am their tech partner. The biggest pain point of this industry is data interoperability between the logistics service providers and the other stakeholders within that ecosystem. What that causes is lack of visibility, as Sir you said, along with that, repetitive work. So let me just tell you how we are doing it at Softlink, so that will just give you some perspective. We built something called as the logistics ecosystem. So logistics is a system which freight forwarders use. Let's imagine all your core operations, sending a code, creating a shipping, filing a shipping bill of entry, or creating an airway bill or a BL, accounting happens at the core of the application, over which is part of logistics, right? Over which we built a data highway, which then seamlessly connects these logistics service providers to the other stakeholders. It could be shippers, it could be agents, it could be liners, it could be customs, it could be ports. Now, where does AI come into the picture here? The first and the most important thing, process acceleration. Logistics service providers are plagued with one of the biggest pain points, which is data entry. We, through our AI tools, have brought down the data entry pains by almost 95%, be it a customs filing or be it a freight job. Second, and the most important part, making sense of the data, inward, outward, and predictive. Many logistic companies sit on tons and tons of data. It could be good data, it could be garbage data as well. But with AI, we are trying to make sense of this data and building it in a form where it can be beneficial not just for the logistics service providers, but for their customers as well. And let me take an example here. We were approached by one of the biggest tire companies in India, one of the biggest importers of rubber. They were working with about 7 logistics service providers, within which 5 were already using logistics. But still their data was fragmented. Now my allegiance or my commitment is to the logistics service providing industry. But that is what the need of the hour is. They want the data which is scattered across let's say, different platforms or with their different vendors, they want it on a single platform. We did create a prototype for them, and we were able to showcase them with not the real data but some mock data, that how can you see the visibility from all these 5 logistics service providers on a single dashboard, which improves KPIs, which improves turnaround time, which gives you a solid visibility, especially like the manufacturers, on how your logistics service providers are doing. See, in a very simple way, the theme for today, because it's Bharat 2047, logistics sector is going to be a very important contributor to that.
Sure.
But the 2 most important thing, which is important for the transformation, is innovation, which is relying more on AI, automation, data, smart data, which helps you to take decisions faster. And the second is integration, where you have everyone at least connected to some extent. But with that said, very honestly, in the middle lies the people. If the people don't trust the technology, it's of no use, Even if I'm able to get smart data analytics, you need someone to make sense of it, to trust, and to pass it on further.
Sure.
So, let me just leave you guys with one thought. Start small, start with the data bottleneck which is there, and make sure that your people grow with the technology, because alone it cannot benefit anyone, and that done repeatedly will not only digitalize logistics but it would revolutionize it, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Rashul, I think we were on the panel before as well.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
I hope I'm not going to repeat the question, but there's a new term that I've come across, which is called, I hope I get this pronunciation, physical. It's PHYGITAL, physical digital merge, marriage. I'm getting old, so forgive me for not knowing these terms properly. Taking one step further from where Kunal left off, we're now going to see the merging of technology. You're going to see AI, you're going to see IoT, you're going to see blockchain. How do you see the next-gen visibility platforms being thrust upon multimodal networks? You've got now 5. You've got air, road, rail, waterways, etc. How do you see them being integrated? Because today, as a manufacturer, a producer, he is not telling you about which mode he wants. He is telling you when and where he wants it. It's up to you to tell him, this is your best option. Probably, and I don't mean with any disrespect, the bullock cart will be the easiest way. I don't know, but that could be an option. So, your take, Rashid.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting question indeed. And I thank the CargoNXT team and congratulate them for this successful event. The question is very relevant in these times. I believe phygital, as you rightly said, it's very misnomerly used among the industry people, that how we use it. I always believe in 4-step digital transformation. I think I talked about it earlier as well. That what Kunal left off with, the data, right, which is the currency for any digital transformation, right? So first we need to fix the data part of it. Unless the digital journey starts with data, unless you have data in place, right? So how data is created? Data is created through phygital devices, right? It can be IoTs, it can be sensors, it can be process automation. So you start creating data. The next step is how you democratize the data. So the data should be available at right place, at right time, at right quantity. Right? So if I am the user of data, the data should be available with me. It should be available at right time. So that becomes really important. Then goes the next level of maturity, which is the connection of data, right? So, and then probably the last stage would be artificial intelligence. Now we see multi-course, multi-dimensional artificial intelligence being talked about. It can be cognitive, it can be predictive, it can be generative these days, it can be agentic, and now we see another word which is cursor AI. Now, so, people from the outside perspective, because I'm a logistician by heart, so when I entered the technology industry, it was all, going over my head because I could not understand even a single word. But then, when you get into the depth of it, you understand and you realize the importance of it. So, I think when we talk about artificial intelligence and digital, it is all connected, but it is a journey. You start with digital, you end at artificial intelligence. So that's how digital is really a stepping stone or a foundation towards a digital transformation journey.
Perfect. Thank you. I have another question for, but I'm going to come back after I finish with the next. Bhupendraji, as a supply chain expert, uh, from a macro perspective, policy reforms and infrastructure priorities today are the buzzword everywhere. What do you think would be some of the factors that we should be start talking about today as we move forward towards this logistics vision for the Vikasit Bharat in 2047?
Thank you for asking for such a beautiful question. And I would like to thank the CargoNXT for inviting me to such a beautiful panel as well. The theme of the panel is logistic manthan. So this is the perfect question when we are talking about innovation, integration, and finally the word is impact. We are talking about three eyes, not on single eyes. So everybody has to open all three eyes to look at. So the first thing I would like to emphasize, which might have been emphasized in the earlier panels as well, which is the main thing, that the logistic cost. The reduction of logistic cost in India is very, very important because it is only the thing which may which is impacting our business, which is making us less competitive in global market. Currently, we don't have the real data. NCAR and DPIIT has published the data 2-3 years back where the cost was around 9%.
Correct.
But is this real? I'm not sure. Because I'm a logistics professional, I'm working with a manufacturer. Sonik ji is there, Bharat is sitting here, Anil ji is sitting here. A lot of supply chain professionals from the manufacturing teams are sitting here. We never received any email, any call, anybody from DPIIT or NCAR for the inputs. So I'm not sure how they are defining the logistic cost of 9%. It may be already 6%, but database is not there. Or I'll say the real database is not there. Because my calls from inland transportation by rail, road, or by sea, it may differ for the person sitting at the port. The manufacturing unit is at Mumbai. So that is the one thing I would like to emphasize when we talk about the business Vikasit Bharat in 2040. Another thing is very important is to shift the freight from road to railway and the waterways. Currently, road freight is around 71%. Some data say it is 65%. Some data say it is 70%. Somebody is saying it is 75%. So in between it is 65 to 75% is still we have the road freight. And if we talk about China, we'll talk about US, we'll talk about Europe, it is not more than 30%. Waterways are more. Here in India, we are still on waterways 2%. Correct. So we need to increase the shift from road freight to rail freight as well as waterways. That is more important. Because I heard it is only 2% in waterways and rail it is 18%. That is definitely going to contribute in the cost reduction as well as the emission factor. Because road freight is the highest impact on the emission part. This is definitely going to help in the sustainability. Third point, I would like to accelerate infrastructure building through DFCs and MLPs. The question you have asked to Rashul, if we are working on DFCs, we are working on MLPs. So that is also very important because DFCs will definitely reduce the transit, dwell time. right? And MLPs at the right place will definitely cut the infrastructure building will definitely cut, like we can go for the waterways if it is at the right place. Third thing which I would like to go with the simplification of regulation with the single window digital clearance and standardization of KPIs.
That's true.
Right now we don't have any standardization in our logistics industry. If I need one freight forwarder in Hyderabad, there is no set parameters. I don't know who will be the best for the US from the Hyderabad, especially. If I go to domestic transportation from Delhi, I don't know who will be the best for the Guwahati. There is no system, there is no mechanism, there is no standard KPIs. So all these things required. Like to talk about financing, then definitely we need to use blended finance and asset monetization for logistic investment. PPP model will be the best for the infrastructure for ports, MMLPs, like a manufacturer. I have the EPCG, I have the movers scheme, I have the SEJs. There are a lot of schemes for the manufacturers, but for a logistics service provider or a MSME, I don't see there's any particular scheme is there where they can be benefited, they can be incentivized. So these are the things we need to focus. And last but not the least, I would like to appreciate the current efforts. Those are being done by the government of India. I believe we are in the right direction because our logistic performance index has reached to the 38th place now in 2023. So it is all because of the improvement in the infrastructure, shipment tracking, and the timelines. That's my take on the requirement.
Thank you, Bhupendra. I think there's a lot of takeaways from what you just mentioned. Incidentally, I was on the committee for the LPI and for the 23 data. So I'm quite aware of the challenges we had faced at that time when we brought down this number of 9.8%. But when we do the subsequent ones, I think one of the big challenges that we're going to have is always the sanitization of data. If your data is not sanitized, whatever conclusion you come out of that is an unsanitized conclusion. So, your point well taken. Mr. Gupta, thank you for joining us on this panel as well. Specifically on the CTPAT matter, which I wanted to bring up here. Again, on the theme of just because of Bharat, how will the CTPAT drive, especially the aviation logistics sector, towards it? What's your take on that?
Thank you, Prasad, and thank you, CargoNXT, for having me here. I would like to make a statement here. I have slept on a sleeper mattress in the morning before coming here, so I'm a customer. Now, coming to your question, CTPAT, as it stands, I believe most people here doesn't know about it. It's a customs and trade partnership agreement arrangement against terrorism. So basically, it's a US-based program, and we've been talking about resilience. We're talking about reducing dwell times. CTPAT is a step in that direction. Fortunately, besides the other 21 countries, this is a US custom initiative. So besides the other 21 countries, India is a mutually recognized entity. And the AUO program that we have, this is one of the benefits of the AUO program. You are recognized across the globe. It is true for importers, exporters,